so this class will be focused on joint health. So we'll get to all the big joints and the little joints and our fingers and our toes as well. To start, you can come to a kneeling position. I like to have my blanket laid across the middle of my mat. It's kind of shoulder to hip distance apart. If you want to measure it like that, that's just so that if we do any other poses, you can have part of the mat in front and behind as well. And once you come to a kneeling position and you want a little bit more of a comfortable or higher seat, you can add your pillow underneath you. And the closer you get it in between, like in the seam where your knee creases, it'll take a little bit of pressure off of your knees if you ever have knee pain or don't really like kneeling. So it's always good to just try it. And if you don't like kneeling, if you're uncomfortable here, feel free to sit in a comfortable position. So as always, we'll start with our breathing exercise to get grounded and arrive in our space. So you can go ahead and close your eyes. Start to tune into your breath. See if you can sit your weight back a little bit further onto your heels so that you're not sticking your belly and your lower ribs out, but you're really settling back and down into your seat. You can hug your elbows back slightly, bringing your shoulders back, stacking them over your hips. Lengthen the back of your neck. And start to deepen the breath, breathing in and out of your nose. And we'll start today with what's called the 3-part breath. So you'll take a third of your breath, pause, take a 2/3 of your breath, and then pause again, and then breathe in to the upper chest, pause, and then you'll have a smooth, continuous out breath. So we'll start by taking one cleansing breath together, exhaling all of the air out of your lungs. Inhale, fill up the belly. Pause. Inhale, fill up the lower rib cage. Pause. Inhale and fill up the chest. Pause. And exhale. Pause. Inhale, fill up the belly. Pause. Inhale the lower ribs. Pause. Inhale the upper chest. Pause. And exhale all of the air out, one smooth, continuous exhale. And pause at the bottom. You can keep doing this on your own, your 3-part breath. If you'd like to extend it to 4 or 5 as you start to deepen your inhales. Do what works for you, making sure to pause between each part of the breath. Notice how you grow a little taller on each inhale. Your shoulders may rise and fall with your breath. And as you grow taller with your inhales, make sure you're not clenching any muscles when you pause to hold the breath, but that it's a soft sipping of air and a smooth exhale, softening down into your seat. Take a few more, and whenever you're ready, you can come back to your normal breathing rate, an uninterrupted breath. And just notice the depth of your breath now. And you can keep the eyes closed, or you can flutter the eyes open and allow your eyes to wander as we move the head and neck. So we'll start with the mobility of the cervical spine. Just turning your head left and right, gently, not creating any creasing in the neck, trying to look behind you, but just noticing the mobility of your neck and if anything in your neck is speaking back to you. Remembering to breathe, keeping the shoulders soft, keeping the muscles of the face soft. If your eyes are wandering with you, try not to get dizzy, just do a gentle gaze around the room. And once your head is center, we'll do the same thing, dropping our chin down and then dropping the head back, looking up. Feeling the full weight of the head as you drop the chin forward. You can pause and take a full breath. And once your head is center again, just take a couple of circles with your head to the right. Keeping your shoulders back and down, away from your ears. Feeling the full length in the sides of the neck. And the next time your chin is center, go ahead and start to make circles in the left direction. And maybe you'll start to feel some sensation in your shins and the tops of your feet. If you can still wiggle your toes, then that means you're okay. Once your chin is to your chest, you can lift your head back to center and then bring your hands to your shoulders. If you need to shift off of your shins, that's all right too. Once your hands are on your shoulders, start to make gentle circles or small circles with your elbows out to the side. And then slowly start to grow these circles larger and larger, like you're making spirals. So if you have like a crayon on your elbow, you would be drawing a spiral on the walls beside you. And then bring your elbows back center and start to circle in the opposite direction. So for me, my elbows are coming forward this time, starting with smaller circles, slowly growing larger. Warming up the shoulder joints. And then inhale, draw your shoulders back, your collarbones splay forward, chin is back, look up. On your exhale, your shoulder blades grow apart, your elbows can come to touch in front of you, chin to your chest. Inhale, heart forward. Exhale, press your heart to the back. Take a few more like this, slow and steady, opening up the front of the chest. Breathing into the back of the rib cage as you round forward. And when you're ready, you can start to ease off of your shins. You can remove the pillow if you were seated on a pillow, and then start to tap your toes. Just wake the toes and the ankles up. Bring some blood flow back to those ankle joints. Can make circles with your ankles. My feet are still a little bit asleep. And then we'll do one more seated posture here. And I'll try not to kick Molly, who's laying behind me. And you may have done this before, but I'll walk through it again. We'll come into a 90-90 position. So if you have your left leg in front of you on the first side, then your knee will be directly out from your hip and your foot directly out from your knee. Flexing your foot into the side, your right knee is out from your right hip and your foot is directly behind from your knee. From here, see if you can draw your right hip bone down slightly, flex your feet and grow tall in the torso. You can press into the top of the thigh, or maybe your hands come to your hips as we play with a little bit of hip mobility in the right hip. So you'll lift your right hip up, extend your leg out to the side, rotate your heel down to the front, and then go back the way that we came. Bend your knee, set your shin back down. And try to keep your torso really tall as you go through the motions here. You can move as slowly as you need to. And if you need to look back and make sure that your leg is placing back into that 90-degree angle, you can do that. Take a few more, and maybe after you set your knee down behind you, you rise up onto the front shin, thrusting your hips forward, sitting back down, maybe no hands for support this time. Wherever you are, take one more, seeing lots of feet waving in the air. And then bring both feet out in front of you. You can rest your hands behind you and then windshield wiper your legs left and right. And we'll move to the other side. So your right foot is out in front this time, and check for your 90-degree angles. If they're less than 90 degrees, that's totally fine. Just come as close as possible. Tall torso, strong legs, and we'll start to lift the left knee off the ground, extend the toes out to the side. You can do this with pointed toes or a flexed foot, whatever you need to do to engage those muscles in the leg. Don't forget to breathe. Make sure you're not shrugging your elbows up to your ears as you do this. Not your elbows, your shoulders. And then when you're ready to add in the lift, you can add in the lift. Just take a few more like this, really warming up the hip joints. Back off whenever you need to back off. Let's say one more. And from here, you can windshield wiper your legs again, or you can come onto all fours, bringing your toes together, knees apart, and rest back in a child's pose. You can crawl your hands out in front of you, or maybe they rest by your sides. Whatever you need to, give yourself a little break. Come back to your breath. Let your body be passive and really settle into the ground. And when you're ready, coming into tabletop, I like to fold my blanket over slightly just so it raises the ground up. In case you have any wrist pain or you have less range of motion in your wrists, rather than having them flat on the ground, if you raise your palms up, it takes a little bit of tension out of the wrists, because we'll do a couple of wrist exercises here. So to warm up the fingers and the joints of the fingers, we'll do finger push-ups. And you can do it just one hand at a time. So you're lifting your palm off the ground, coming up onto your fingertips, and you just do small pulses. You can try with your right and do 5 or 6, and then go to the left. Just starting to warm up the fingertips. And you can try to do both hands at the same time. If your hands start to get tired, you can sit back, shake out your wrists, shake out your fingers, and then come back to it. And then tuck your toes under, sit back on your heels, shake out your wrists, shake out your fingertips. Stay here for a few breaths and really sit back on your toes. If you need to pry your pinky toe out from under the others, you can do that. Just get a gentle stretch in the toes. Maybe you shift your weight left and right. We're getting into all the joints today. And then when you're ready, back off your toes. Maybe you tap the tops of your feet again. We'll do 1 or 2 more wrist stretches. If you flip your fingertips back towards your knees and start to sit your hips back towards your heels, you'll feel a gentle stretch in your forearms. You can start to bring your weight back forward and then flip the backs of your palms down. Your fingertips are still facing towards your knees. And then you can gently start to shift your hips back towards your heels again, stretching the backs of the forearms. Spread your fingertips wide, really pressing down into all 4 corners of the backs of the hands. Start to back off. You can shake out your wrists again if you need to. And we'll come into our tabletop. And from here, we're gonna do what's called a fire hydrant. So you can start with your right or your left, but you'll shift, if you start with your right, shift your weight into your left shin and lift your right leg up. So you'll make this 90-degree angle, flexing your foot, pressing your heel up towards the ceiling. And then draw your knee back down, hovering over the blanket or your mat. And then draw your leg out to the side, like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. Hug your knee back into center, send your heel back up. Knee to center, out to the side. You'll start to feel it in your glute. Try to stay in a neutral position so your spine is long. You're not dropping your belly down or rounding your back. Take a few more like this. You can start to deepen the breath to find more stability. One more time, out to the side, and hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's set it down. We'll go to the other side, shifting your weight into the other knee. Lift your left leg up this time. Reach through the crown of your head, keeping a long and straight spine. Press your heel up to the ceiling. Draw your knee in, hover your leg. Bring it out to a fire hydrant. Hug your knee in, heel up. Take a few more like that. So you might start to feel this in your right hip more, your leg that is stabilizing you, keeping you grounded. Next time your leg goes out to the side, hold it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it come down. Maybe your buns are burning. And then you can shake out your wrists if you need to. Coming onto the tops of your toes, press your hips back towards your heels. You can start to hug your belly in towards your spine, pressing into your hands, lifting the knees off the ground. You can walk your feet back if you need to. We'll be coming into downward facing dog. So when you're ready, you can straighten the legs. Maybe you straighten one leg and then the other, walking out your dog. Coming back to your breath, deepening the breath. Inhale, raise your heels, come up onto your toes. Exhale, your heels fall back down. Do that a few more times. Inhale, up to your toes. Exhale, your heels fall. Inhale to your toes. Now this time, exhale, your heels fall to the right, coming onto the edges of the feet. You'll start to feel a little bit of a stretch in the left side of the body. Inhale, find your way back to your toes. Heels are high. And exhale, your heels fall to the left side this time. Staying on the edges of your feet. Find length between the right shoulder and the right hip. Inhale, come back up to the toes. Raise your right leg high. Exhale, bring your right foot between your hands. Drop your left knee back and down. Tuck your tailbone under. Drop your right hip, sinking into your low lunge. You can keep your hands on your hips or raise your hands high, reaching up to the ceiling. Press your palms together, bring your hands to your heart center or your sternum, and we'll twist over to the right. So you're gonna hook your left elbow over your right knee. press it into your right knee and bring your hands back to the center of your chest. Turn around so that you can see. Hook your elbow, press your hands, and grow into your twist. You can start to take your chin over your right shoulder, soft gaze over your right elbow. Take a few more deep breaths, really wringing out the spine. And slowly start to back off. You can frame the right foot with your hands. Send your hips back. Flex your foot. And you're folded over your right leg. So flex your right toes back towards your shin. Draw your right hip so your leg is drawing back into your hip socket, squaring your hips. And this action of pulling your heel back, pulling your leg back into the right hip socket, you'll get a deeper stretch in the back of the right leg. Come back to your breath, find a little bit more length. And then start to bend the knee, plant the foot, plant the hands, tuck the back toes, step your way back to a downward facing dog. Inhale up to your toes. Exhale, heels fall. Inhale to your toes. Exhale, heels fall, hips stay high. Inhale, up to your toes. Shift your weight to the right, send your left leg high this time. And exhale, step your left foot between your hands. You can bring that right knee back and down, coming into your 90-90, tuck your tailbone under, send that left hip down, and start to shift forward and down into your lunge, raising your arms up. Keeping a little bit of space between your arms and your ears. On your next exhale, press your palms together, draw your hands to your heart center, and then hook your right elbow over your left knee this time. And then when you're ready, press your right elbow into your leg and draw your hands back to the center of your chest. Bring your gaze over past the right elbow. Deepening your breath to find stability, to find length in the spine. Inhale, reach through the crown of the head. Exhale, twist a little bit deeper. And exhale to back off, bringing your hands to frame your front foot. Send your hips back, flex your left toes, back towards your shin, fold over your left leg. And start to draw your left femur bone back into your hip socket. Keep flexing your left foot. Find length in the back of your leg. Exhale, bend your knee, plant your foot, shift your weight back forward. Plant your hands, tuck your back toe, step back to your downward facing dog. When you're ready, you can set your knees down and we'll come to our seated postures. We'll start with a forward fold. So you can have your feet hips distance apart, or your feet can be together. You can remove the flesh from underneath your sit bones, really grounding down in your sit bones. Reach your arms tall. Stay long in the torso as you slowly start to fold over your legs. You can land your hands on your shins out to the side or grab the outsides of the feet. Make sure you're not crunching the space at the back of the neck, but you tuck your chin slightly and reach through the crown of your head. Soften the belly, breathe into the hips. Your knees can be bent here. Just trying to find a little bit of length in the back of the legs. And slowly you can tuck your chin and guide yourself back up one vertebrae at a time. Your head will come up last. And we'll do one more twist before we lay down. So hugging your right knee in towards the belly. You can keep your foot here or cross it over your left leg. And just like we did in our lunge, cross your left elbow over your right thigh. Bring your hands back to your heart center. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, twist to the right. You can also bring the hand down behind you for stability. Inhale, grow a little bit taller. Exhale, twist a little bit deeper. And exhale to back off. Untwist. Take a counter twist, so bringing both arms to the other side. And slightly round your back, tuck your chin. And then come back to center. Just a gentle counter stretch. Lengthen your right leg out, draw your left knee in. You can cross your left foot over your right thigh. Hug in, grow tall. Right elbow outside your left thigh this time. Inhale to grow tall, hands to heart center, or you can bring that left hand down behind you as a kickstand. Exhale to look over your left shoulder, twist, wring out the spine. Stay with your breath. Inhale a little bit taller. Exhale, twist a little deeper. And on your next exhale, start to back off. And we'll do our counter twist to the right this time, tilting your fingers out to the right. You can press into them, rounding your upper back, finding space between the shoulder blades, tucking your chin. Take one deep breath here. Inhale to come back to center. Lengthen your left leg back out and slowly start to lower down onto your back. From here, can walk your feet in, hug your knees in towards your armpits. You can rock side to side, massaging the lower back. If you want to go a little bit deeper, coming into happy baby, grabbing the outside edges of the feet. Keep drawing those knees into your armpits. You can rock side to side or stay here in stillness, softening the breath at the belly. Moving the breath into the hips. Slowly start to back off, hang on to your shins. Give yourself one last squeeze, bringing your knees to your forehead. And exhale, lay everything down. And here you have the option to come into Shavasana, so laying back into your dead man's pose. Or if you have a couch or a chair nearby, feel free to prop your legs up. I like to have a pillow or a blanket underneath my sacrum. And then you can just allow the couch or the chair to catch at the creases of your knees. You can bring a pillow under your head, whatever you need to do to make yourself comfortable. You can always have your legs straight up a wall. Your arms are resting out to the sides. And now that you have stirred up all of the dust in your joints, you can allow the dust to settle. If you want a prettier image, you can think of it as a snowstorm. And as you come to rest, the storm has settled and the snowflakes are falling softly. You're seeing fewer and fewer flakes now. Maybe you can feel a few flakes fall into the soft palm of your hand. Allowing the cool temperature of the snowflakes to wash over you. Notice any gentle breeze of cool winter air in the environment that you've made. Noticing where you're feeling this cool sensation on your body, the parts of your body that are not clothed but are exposed. Now imagine you've come back inside to find warmth Notice the warmth of the ground beneath you. Bring your awareness to the places and the parts of your body that are connected to the earth. Parts of your body that are clothed. Can slowly start to deepen your breath, allowing the warmth to wash over your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe you take gentle circles with your ankles and your wrists. When you're ready, you can hug your knees into your belly. And when you're ready, rolling off to the side, pressing into your hands, coming up to a seat. You can come back to your shins or whatever comfortable seat you're meant to be in. And keeping your eyes closed for a soft gaze, we'll take one last cleansing breath together, exhaling all of the air out. Take a deep, full inhale, filling up the belly, the lower rib cage, the upper chest, growing tall. Hold it at the top. And exhale, let it wash over you. Have a good night.